Hey Bruin fans, welcome to Black Virginia Senior High School, site of this evening's 2019-20 Winter Sports Award Program. Got to admit, this wasn't the way we were expecting to hold this program, but and we certainly weren't thinking it was going to be April 30th. It's hard to believe it's going to be May already tomorrow, but COVID has done a pretty good job of making life miserable for all of us. So despite that fact, we'll do what Bruins do. We'll keep fighting and plugging along, and here we go. I'd like to, before I forget, our board program is brought to you by Save-A-Lot Generic Hand Sanitizer. We'll leave it there in case we need it. Thanks to our head coaches for coming in and sharing from home. All of our coaches are here except for Coach Gehringer, so he'll be with us here in a few minutes so that we can make this happen. Each coach will share a little bit about their seasons, and then they'll list their award winners. And athletes can pick up their awards on May 18th or 19th when you come in for locker clean-out day. In about 3 weeks. I'm going to limit my own specific comments as not to take away from the other coaches, but I definitely can state that this winter was extremely successful and enjoyable. Nearly all our teams saw improvement this year over last year. Several records were broken, and the girls and boys basketball teams won the Bell and the Horseshoe, which was pretty awesome. We also won a boys sectional basketball tournament, as you know. Although COVID destroyed the regional, the senior boys can forever say that we won our last basketball game, which is something almost nobody ever gets to do in high school. So as odd as that sounds, that's kind of something cool they'll be able to share the rest of their lives. A big thanks to our fans who were patient through the regional ticket process. It may have been a bit annoying inconvenience as we worked through that week, and certainly frustrating not to be able to use our tickets. But you have to admit that week was very exciting, very exciting. All the people lined up outside and the kids going out and socializing with everybody who was waiting. It was just an awesome experience until it was finally pulled about a day before we started the regional. As is usually the case, I want to share an explanation of all the awards. Real quick, numerals are received after their first varsity season, or any season for that matter, JV or varsity season. JVB are for those who do not qualify for a varsity award and play at the JV level. Certificates are awarded in lieu of second major Bs for those who earn freshman awards. I said second major B, second JVB. A varsity award is received a major B after their first varsity award. A patch is given in lieu of a second major B, and jackets are given after their first major B if purchased by the athlete. We do have a policy whereby the athletic department will buy the jacket for the athlete if they get 7 letters if they've not already bought or purchased a jacket. Plaques are individual awards given by coaches, and we'll share a few of those today. And CIC honors are those awards given by the Central Indiana Conference. The order of the presentation today will be as follows. Coach Hoover will talk about boys basketball. Coach Goodspeed will talk about cheer. Coach Waters will then share about girls basketball, followed by Coach Malott on boys and girls swimming. Coach Gehringer will be live remote from home to talk about wrestling, and Coach McDonald will talk about unified bowling. And again, we appreciate those guys being here today, and then he'll return back to me for some final words. So at this time, we're going to turn it over to Coach Hoover and boys basketball.
Thank you, Tony.
You'll come up here.
First of all, I'd like to Thank you, Tony. First of all, I'd like to thank because Tony wants us to keep this short, I'm just going to thank 3 groups, and then everybody else has another group. I'd like, first of all, to thank the parents, thank the coaches, and thank Mr. Brown and Mrs. Wenger for fundraising. As you know, we had a good year. The varsity was 21-5, the JV was 18-2, the freshmen won a bunch, and the junior high had an 8th grade that only lost 2, and the 7th grade improved a lot. So everything in the program is coming along pretty good. The varsity and the JV was both 6-1 in the CIC. The varsity won the first sectional since 1991, and as Tony mentioned, We never made the regional because of the invisible enemy. As far as I'm concerned, I'm just going to go through the awards, and as I've got them here, and keep this thing on schedule. First of all, varsity award winners. The seniors is Ridge Dunica and Peyton Hurd, Brandon Strobel, Dalton Wellman. All of those are seniors. Juniors, Dane Baker, Luke Brown, Cam Elam, Landon Grimes, Stephen Hoover, Tommy Stiles, and Max Wars. Sophomores, Mickey Waters, Scott Wenger. Freshmen, Dayton Hoover, Dawson Hunley. Junior Varsity Award recipients, Jared Kirshner, and freshman Jared Kirshner is a sophomore, and Carson Smith, who's a freshman. Freshman Award recipients is Dakota Carmack, Ty Daly, Derek Elliott, Denver Kemp, Nate Limey, Eli Martin, Dylan McClure, and Brandon Roush. Managers. The managers who received awards is Ellie Landon, Ellie King, Kayla Henderson, and Nick Otowinski was our stats guy. He gets a major award. Junior Emma Lytle, and the other managers, sophomores, were Shelby Groves and Alex Brown. All of these received major awards. The following people received plaques. Captain's plaques, Ridge Dunica, Peyton Hurd, Brandon Strobel, Dalton Willman, Luke Brown, and Nick Otowinski. Senior Manager Awards go to Ellie Langdon, Allie King, and Kayla Henderson. As far as individual awards, statistical awards for the varsity, free throw percentage went to Luke Brown. 2-point field goal percentage went to Dalton Willman. 3-point percentage went to Brandon Strobel. Rebounds went to Dalton Willman. Assists to Luke Brown. Steals to Luke Brown. Charges to Max War. JV individual awards. Free throw percentage, Jared Kirshner. 2-point field goal percentage, Landon Grimes. 3-point field goal percentage, Mickey Waters. Rebounds to Landon Grimes. The assists went to Dayton Hoover, and the steals to Dawson Hunley. A little bit of information about some of the things that have gone on, some of the awards that the team has gotten since the sectional and achieved during the season. First of all, there's about 400 teams in the state of Indiana, and we were ranked third in the state on offense. with 77.3 points per game. Our defense, which was our Achilles heels all year, was unranked, but we allowed 61.4 points per game. The spread between offense and defense, we were ranked 25th in the state among 400 with a spread of 15.9 points per game. CIC awards, Luke Brown was all conference, Brandon was all conference, and Dalton Willman was all conference. Luke Brown, of course, has accumulated a lot of attention the last 3 years, and these are just some of the things that he, some of the awards or some of the recognition that he got after the season. He was picked by the Indiana Coaches Association as being one of the top 15 underclass players in Indiana. He was the Area 2 IBCA player twice during the season, and he was honorable mention every other week. Luke made the Junior All-Stars. He is the #1 scorer in the state of Indiana this year with 32.2 points per game. He's the #2 player in the state as far as free throw percentage is concerned, with free throw percentage of 90. And he was #3 in the state of Indiana in assists after leading the state in assists almost the whole year. But anyway, he ended up with 7.7 assists per game, which ranked 3rd in the final tally. He was also voted the Eastern ECI Winter Sports person for Eastern Indiana. In addition to that, Brandon Strobel achieved 1,000 points this year, and Luke passed the 2,000 point this year. The last award that I have here is Ellie Langdon. I just got this word today. Ellie Langdon has been picked as the Indiana basketball coach's student manager of the year, and she will get a scholarship of $750 for that. So that concludes my remarks, and I'll be followed by cheerleader coach Danielle Goodspeed.
Hi everyone, I am Danielle Goodspeed, and this was my 3rd year as the head coach here at Blackford. And I just want to say how exciting it is for us as cheerleaders to see all the support and our fans for all these teams and how well they are doing. It makes such a much more exciting experience for us to lead when the crowd is hyped up and there are big crowds. We appreciate all the support that you guys are giving to these teams. That also adds excitement to our sport. This year, our JV squad was a very, very young squad. It was all freshmen. So Coach Sid worked really, really hard teaching the basics and fundamentals, and we've just continued to see growth and are excited with where that group of kids is going. As far as our varsity squad, it was a transitional year for us as our first year as an all-girls squad, and the amount of dedication and persistence I saw in these girls to show that we can still do it. I'm so proud of how hard they came to every practice and how hard they worked. It definitely showed. We got to do a couple exciting things this year. We were WTHR's Cheerleaders of the Week, and that's always an exciting thing for us to go and be a part of and actually get to take ourselves out of Blackford into the state of Indiana. It was exciting to be able to do that. I also want to acknowledge we had 6 cheerleaders chosen back in the summer for All-American. Of those 6 cheerleaders, 4 of them actually traveled to London and represented Blackford County. And over the past 3 years, that makes a total of 7 BHS cheerleaders that have traveled to London and represented Blackford. So it is, again, just so exciting to see these kids going out and representing Blackford in Indiana and even overseas. So I'll go ahead and start with our awards. Varsity Bs are Katie Clam, Savannah Beard, Alyssa McFeely, and Kalia Scott. Patches are Kaylee Hodson, Kaylee Sills, Natalie Thurman, Kaylin Clam, Sophia Jenner-John, Abby Langdon, Kelsey Mosley, Jenna Payne, and our brute Gabe Foster. JVB awards go to Kelsey Body, Una Bowman, Chloe Lacey, Ava Milholland, Lainey Neuenschwander, Cabry Norton, Madison Weitzel. And JV certificates go to Nicholas Thornbar. Numerals also go to Kelsey Body, Una Bowman, Chloe Lacey, Ava Milholland, Lainey Neuenschwander, Cabry Norton, and Madison Weitzel. As far as our plaque awards go, our most improved cheerleader this year was our JV cheerleader, Chloe Lacey. Coach Sydney and I were so impressed with how far this girl has come this past year. We just held tryouts, and she moved up to our varsity squad. We could not have asked more from Chloe. She is always ready to work and doing what we ask of her constantly. We also wanted to give out a dedication award, and this award goes out to a cheerleader who is a multi-sport athlete, and she comes to cheer after hours of soccer and swim and is ready to work just as hard as everybody else. If we ask her to do something, she's hands down the first one ready to go. So we wanted to recognize how dedicated she is to this sport and how she gives her team everything she can, no matter how tired she can be from everything that she's involved in. And so our dedication award goes to Sophia Jenner-John. Coach Sydney and I wanted to create an award going forward that we will give out every year. Rather than a most valuable cheerleader or something like that, we wanted to create an award that we called the Paul Award, which is what we think is a cheerleader who is the epitome of what we need as a cheerleader and as a coach. So this cheerleader is one of the most versatile girls I have had the ability to coach. She was a flyer for most of her cheer experience, and this year we've needed her as a base, and she's just done an awesome job. No matter what position I put her in, she is ready to go and is awesome at it. She also is a great leader. She's always the first one if I ask something, willing to do the extra and go the extra mile. So this award is going to senior Kaylee Hodson. Lastly, I just wanted to thank our seniors this year in all of our sports. And we're so sorry that it did not end the way you wanted it to, and also to the spring athletes who didn't get to experience what they wanted to. To my 4 senior cheerleaders, the team loves you. We're going to miss you greatly, and we are so sad that we didn't get to experience the end of our season together. I also want to thank my parents for always being ready to step in and help with whatever Coach Sid and I needs. We really, really appreciate it. And we've actually held tryouts for next year, and we had a great turnout, and we are super, super excited for where hopefully we'll be able to cheer you guys on next year. So next up is girls basketball coach Waters. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in tonight. First of all, I'd like to do my thank yous. First of all, to you fans for watching, tuning in, whether it be here now on the BSN network or coming to the games. We greatly appreciate you guys. You guys are what makes us go around and really gets us pumped up. So I want to thank you guys first. Also, I'd like to thank the players that are involved. As most of you know, basketball is a very long season. Technically, it starts October and goes through February, but that doesn't include all of the summer stuff that we do, D1 camps, etc. So Basketball is a very long season, so I want to thank the players for doing that. It's a huge commitment, so thank you guys. I'd like to thank my coaches, Coach Martin, my assistant coach, Coach Nolan, JV coach, and then also another assistant coach, Gary Roten. Thank you guys. You guys make this job a lot easier, whether it's bouncing ideas off of you, picking up the slack where I'm not very good at. So I just want to thank you guys individually for everything that you do. Also like to thank the parents this year. Another successful year. I think that we, proved maybe a lot of people wrong. I think that we did a lot better maybe than what maybe some people expected. So, and that comes to you guys, the parents, and I appreciate everything that you do. I'd like to send a special thanks to the athletic department, Coach Tony Ugan and Lisa Musselman. You guys do a great job, and we really appreciate everything that you guys do for us, and we couldn't do this without you. And last but certainly not least, I'd like to thank my wife, Angie. Again, a long season, and this COVID thing's been kind of awkward for everybody, but it's been nice for us because we've got to spend a lot more time together. So thank you for putting up with me through these long hours. So first of all, let's talk about our team. It's a great season. We finished 10-13, which some of you probably maybe don't think that's a great season, but that's 9 more wins than the year before. That's pretty impressive. That was 6th in the state overall in turnaround in wins. So I think that's a great season compared to where we've been the last few years. We kind of knew going into the season at D1 camp, we knew that we could have a decent group. Just in D1 camp, we were right around that 500 mark, which was way better than the years before. So we kind of had a good feeling about it coming in, so we didn't let down there. We finished 4th in the conference with a record of 4-3. We started out 4-0 and actually beat Oak Hill for the bell, which we didn't even know what that was until we got it. So that was pretty impressive. And we just kind of hit the harder teams at the end. You have a very difficult Mississinawa team that we lost on the road in a very close game. Came back, lost a close game at home against Frankton, which ended up going to the state. And then got beat by Eastbrook in a letdown game, in my opinion. But they did win the sectional, so hats off to them. So we finished the season, again, 4-3 and 4th in the conference. Very, very proud of the girls because we didn't win a game last year in the conference. So some improvements that we had a lot. We actually improved in every aspect except for rebounding. And that's the second straight year that we improved in every aspect except one. The year before, I think it was field goal percentage, and it was just very little. And rebounds was very little this year. It was only 1 point off. So things that we improved on, points per game, we were 42.7 compared to 29.7, so that's a huge jump, 13 points. We gave up 45 a game compared to 55 the year before, so that's over a 20-point swing. That's part of the big reason that we did so well. Field goal percentage, up 31 compared to 22. Assists were up 7.6 compared to 5.3. Steals 10.9 versus 7.2. Blocks 4.5 versus 2.5. And last and certainly not least, our turnovers went from 23 a game to 17. So that all of these were great improvements for us, and that caused a turnaround. And moving forward, I expect to see more of the same. Hopefully we can add 9 more wins again this next year and finish in that 19-win range. That's a big goal for us. I don't know if we can get there. We'll just set them as much as we can and try to achieve what we can. So kudos to you girls for having such a great season, and we look forward to many great seasons to come. It was a total team effort that made that happen. I know we had a couple of good freshmen that had their own individual awards, but the senior leadership with my captains, be Aaron Cagle, Reagan Harding, Bree Adney, and Sissy Reed. You guys did a great job as senior leaders, and I want to thank you guys for that. The junior class is a very strong class as well, and so, moving forward, I picture us just continuing to improve. So, looking forward to it. I guess moving on to our award winners. Our first major Bs include our 2 freshmen, Kaylee Hodges and Olivia Waters. Kids that are receiving their patches include Bree Adney, Aaron Cagle, Reagan Harding, Sissy Reed, Grace Simmons, J.C. Sones, Helen Weitzel, Macy Cagle, Kylie Eppard, and Olivia Lease. JVBs include Valentina Donato, Leah Kale, Emma Daughtry, Katie Spidell, and Brianna Strobel. The JV certificates include Alexa Hurd, Kyra Westerfield, Cassie Muncie, and Ava Milholland. Numerals, the kids receiving those include Leah Kale, Emma Daughtry, Kaylee Hodges, Katie Spidell, Brianna Strobel, and Olivia Waters. Our individual team awards include most points and most rebounds for the season. Same person. She scored 295 points as a freshman, which is incredible, and also grabbed 126 rebounds as a freshman and one of our shortest players on the court. So, again, another incredible stat. And that person is Olivia Lee. So congratulations to Olivia. And then we have our most steals, most assists, and most blocks. Another freshman, our point guard, 68 steals, 67 assists, which on the book was a record, and 74 blocks, which was top 10 in the state. As a freshman again, was Olivia Waters. So congratulations to her. This year's most improved. This person, we always have a goal to go out and get shots made in the off season. This year is going to be kind of strange, maybe a little difficult to achieve some of that. But last year in the summer, Katie Spidell shot 30,000 makes, actually more than 30,000 makes. And it showed when she came in as a freshman, because anything inside 15 feet she didn't miss. So it just goes to show you her level of competitiveness and how much she improved over the course of the year, not playing before. So we really appreciate it, and that's our most improved. Again, it's Katie Spidell. Next up, we have our Little Miss Hustle. This kid is probably, I would assume, in my opinion, the best athlete on our team. She's constantly bouncing around like a little pinball out there. When you see her on the court, she's a defensive crazy person, I would say. And that would be Kylie Eppard. She's our Little Miss Hustle Award winner. Next up, this person is one of the quietest people on the team, but she's also one of the hardest working. She never gives up. She always wants to get better. She doesn't complain. She never rolls her eyes, which is sometimes difficult in girls basketball. This is our Mental Toughness Award winner, and this year's recipient is Brianna Strobel. The last two things that I will announce here is our All-CIC, All-Conference individual winners, and these are voted upon the coaches at our CIC meeting. I should say it's voted upon the other coaches. You don't get a vote for yours. You just nominate players, and they vote for them. So our two winners this year were our two freshmen, Olivia Lease and Olivia Waters. And that concludes all of my spiel here. And next up, we have swim coach, Coach Christy Malott. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to start off with my thank yous. I want to thank my other coaches who obviously aren't here tonight. Coach Christy Lytle, dive coach, she puts in a lot of hours with the kids on the board and their fears of not wanting to go off the board, backwards, forwards, whichever direction that she's trying to convince them. I also want to thank my assistant coach at the junior high level, Coach Bell. He doesn't technically get paid to be at the high school level, but he comes out and dedicates his time and all of his efforts to help us further our team. For those of you who have come to the swim meets, you see that I'm one coach for really two teams. We have the boys team, we have the girls team, and you can't coach in the same way. I want to thank the parents for coming out and being our timers, for all the snacks, the meals, the wet towels that are left in the bags and stink to high heaven. Sorry. I also want to thank BSN Network, who provided this year a video. We're still working on the glitches with that and how that's going to work and play, but hopefully this next year we'll get it all worked out. I'm going to start off a little different than everybody else. It's kind of the turnaround of the Bruins. A few years ago, and Tony can correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure he will. I want to believe it's 2016. Baseball had their winning season, kind of rolled around, and it kind of died off, and the summer came around, and we were looking for a basketball coach, and then, Coach Jerry Hoover calls and talks with him and comes up here, and there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and then we turn around that next fall and football has a winning season, and everyone's like, what is going on in Blackford? And it was really kind of neat because Coach Jerry Hoover took a chance on us as Bruins, come up here, and we're a losing season, and we took a chance on him. He's an older guy, does things a little differently, and it worked. So I want to congratulate those teams for starting the ball rolling and getting us to where we are today. I want to thank the community for the morale, the turnaround of how people look at your neighbors and the kids down the street, and just coming out to the games, not only just to be there to yell, but financially. The reason why I come to that is financially, you buy a ticket, you come out here, and it helps out the kids. Why does it help out the kids? Swim. We make no money. We cost the school a lot of money. But because of those ticket sales, we were able to, for the first time in my own son's swim career of 6 years, to have a swim board that worked. For the first time, you could see what your kids swam, what time, what place they were in. The boards worked, the computers were working. This has never happened. So for us as a swim team, it's very exciting. I was talking to some coaches, and we were talking about different obstacles that we have to go through, and they laughed. They said, they don't want my obstacle. I have men and women in bathing suits, in a hot box, driving each other crazy. Come back to the one team, but really two teams. We went through all the obstacles and got through them all. So here, to move on to our season, I'm going to start off with some of the big ones. Oak Hill Invitational, the first time ever. Our boys placed second place in that invitational. Several schools, I want to say it was 7 boys teams. Girls finished third out of 12 or 13, I can't remember. But we've never not in either last or second to the last. Huge. Oak Hill, they let us know that we were the team to beat this year. And everyone's kind of like, where did Blackford come from? Starting off with my ladies first. Miss Natalie Blakely fought for 4 years to try to break the fly record, and she did. And it waited till she waited till sectionals to do it. But I was so happy for her to finally have that lifted off her shoulders. I do want to point out that our girls were 1 win away from breaking the most wins in a season, and they missed that by merely 6 points at 1 meet. So lets us know that we're right there. We're so close. Our boys, and I don't even want to make light of this because they were so excited. They had the most wins in a season ever in Blackford history. I want to say it was 1994. And so they took that and moved forward and broke that record. The boys also broke the 200 medley, the 200 free relay. Drew Caldwell broke the 200 individual medley and the 100 backstroke. So those were some big feats this year of just the talent that has come out of just our swim program. I do want to look at sectionals. Sectionals, this is, it was a hard one for us. We had some illnesses, an emergency appendectomy happened. There was a whole lot of chaos going on. But in both cases, both girls and boys, we finished highest in the history of Blackford swim. When you do swim, it's a little different than every other sport. We go straight from sectionals to state. There's no regionals, that kind of stuff. You either make it or you don't. The way it works is there's 26 individuals, and for an individual event, or 13 for a team event. If you finish in the top 16, the bottom 8, you get the consolation heat. So you kind of get to show your stuff. The top 1 through 8, you compete for state. Well, the way that works is either you get first place and you go on to state, or you have a state cut time that you can make. So those are very difficult. It's a one and done, and that's it. We were able to, for our boys relay teams, all 3 of our relay teams competed for state. 1 of our girls' relay teams competed for state. 2 of our boys competed, and 1 of our girls competed. So for us, that's huge. They're leaps and bounds. I'm going to switch gears for a second and go over to our awards, starting with the girls. This year, our Major B, Kylie Hahn and Maddie Weitzel will receive the Major B. The patches, their second Major B is Natalie Blakely, who's also a captain, Brooke Rogers, Kylie Darnell, Kaylin Clam, Sophie Jennerjohn, Abigail Langdon, Ruby Slentz, who's also a captain, Cammie Caldwell, Kelly Rinker, and Vanessa Carroll, who's our manager, but she's not a manager as in you go get water. She has to run our boards, which is a computer board programming, and if there's a glitch, it kind of falls upon her. I'm going to take this moment I should have thanked this person earlier on, and I'll probably hear about it when I get home. My husband, who gets conned into this, being a coach's spouse, you don't always have to help out behind the scenes. Mine has no choice. He knows how to run the boards, and so he's there, and it's a headache, and he's figured a lot of it out. But Vanessa and my husband have got to know each other on those boards, and I thank both of them for that. JVB, Elizabeth Howard, and JV certificates, Leah Kale and Maddie Ford. Numerals, Elizabeth Howard. I'm going to go ahead and go on to our boys. Major B is Hayden Christabel and Braxton Malott. Patch number 2, Major B, Ethan Miller. Colin Penrod is a captain. Drew Caldwell. Kyle Crabtree, who's also our dive captain. Bodie Malott, captain. Lance Manley. Kendall Shear. Carson Seahigh. Ethan Heidi. JVB is CJ Krause and Caden Duke. Numerals are CJ Krause and Caden Duke. Now, our plaque recipients this year, I'm going to start off with we give most improved and we give most dedicated. And those are reserved for first-year swimmers or for freshmen. Last year, hands down, we knew exactly who it was halfway through the season, and it was just consistent. You just knew that these 2 were going to have the award. This year was tough, and I'm glad it was. I'm glad it was tough because it meant that they were working. Every single person was fighting for the next win, the next award, the next record. And it was really neat to see them work as a team. I feel like we're meshing and we're finally getting there. Our most improved, coaches and I kept going back and forth on, we were looking and kind of looking for that person to stand out. And it was the quiet one who just came in every day and just dug and did her thing. And she had never been on a swim team before. And Maddie Weitzel stepped up and just nailed it. She's most improved all the way around. And the next award I kind of argued with a little bit because it's difficult being in my position. It was the most dedicated. And this is one of those things where every kid was coming in. They were coming in for 5:30 a.m. practices, and then they were staying after school for another practice. And we weren't sure who was most dedicated because they were all putting in the time until the end of the season. And both coaches just looked at me. And I said, I don't want to do it. And they said, you got to do it. And it came down to, I got the phone call that my kid was being rushed to the hospital to have an emergency appendectomy. And as a mom, your heart sunk. And so you go and you deal with that. 2:30 in the morning, they're taking it out. At 1:30 in the afternoon, they discharge him. He wants to go to the Jay County swim meet that night. So we go. And so we're there. And he cheers on his team. And he's in pain the next day. And then all of a sudden, here we get ready for sectionals. And the stomach flu's hitting the swim team like you wouldn't believe. And I've got a kid out and he can't swim. I know if I put the right combination together, we can at least be top 8 so we can compete for state. I had some kids say, hey, coach, I'll do it. I'll be that swimmer. And I said, are you going to be that swimmer who steps back when the sick player is ready to come back to get us further, to do a faster time? And they were all like, no. They wanted to do it. And I get it. I totally get it. I would want to be that person too. But I had one say, coach, I'll do it. And I said, that means that you have to forego your individual race. You can't do it. You can't compete. And he told me, he goes, I know. He goes, but it's for the team. and we're trying to. He got it as a freshman. He got it. We're trying to get that next step, that next level, and so my most dedicated had to go to Braxton a lot after surgery and being sick and throwing up himself. He stepped in, and then when the person came back in to swim for sectionals, and that kid gets the patch and that kid gets the win, Braxton said it's okay because it was for the team. So as a mom, I was proud. As a coach, it was hard. So I was excited that let's see, there's one other thing I wanted to catch on to. I think it was, I know what it was. It was the girls' record for the year was 4-12. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if you'd see our scores, we're so close on every meet. And our boys, they'll get my funny on this, and so will Coach. We were 13-3. I mean, really 12-4, but we'll take that. So next up is going to be Coach Geringer.
Thanks, Coach, for not putting a J in my name. Are we alive here? You guys see me?
Almost.
Hang on.
Uh-oh.
Hang on.
There's always got to be that one coach that causes trouble.
Yeah. I just got to make sure that our camera, and it's not. So, hang on. We lost the camera.
Tell you what, if I'm audio, that's all right. That's okay.
Yeah, there's not much I could do. You're just going to have to be on.
Are we rolling right now?
Yep. Just go ahead and talk.
Let's do this. Well, hey, my name's Rick Geringer. I'm the wrestling coach at Blackford. Been doing it for 7 years. I came in, so like a broken record, I came in the same year Tony came in as the athletic director. In the last, I'd say 2 to 3 years, and for various reasons, there's been a total change in the attitude in the building. Positive with the kids in the hallways. I did some substitute teaching actually this year at Blackford. Enjoyed that, talking to the kids. Really miss seeing people. I'm doing some social distancing. That's why I'm not there with the rest of them. My wife and I work with Access to Care Pharmacy in Muncie. She works on the retail side. I actually work on the infusion side, which I work a lot with facilities such as nursing homes, hospitals, that kind of stuff, home deliveries with hospice deliveries and things like that. So I thought maybe it'd be a wise idea that I kind of keep myself away from the other coaches until we get some more information. Neither one of us have anything. We've been testing all that good stuff. We do the 10,000 times a day sanitizing and all that good stuff. But really missed seeing the guys. We had big plans this spring to do some off-season things that kind of got kiboshed like everybody else. But really, I had a great year with the guys. Record, as a few other coaches said, record-wise, we were 6-26 record-wise. But most of the meets that we wrestled in, we wrestled with about 9 or 10 guys. So that means we're giving up 5 or 6 weight classes. So we usually, before the meeting started, we were 30 points behind. So the one thing I talked to the guys this year more than anything, and they really, last 2 or 3 years have really bought into this. We want to have fun. When we go out there, we want to take what we've learned in the week during the season, have fun with the season. Wrestling's just another sport. You learn from it. It doesn't make or break you, but it makes you grow as a person. And I had an outstanding group of young men I worked with this year. Had a fantastic time with them. I think one of the coaches, I can't remember if it was a swim coach or who it was, said that their kids didn't complain. My wrestlers complain all the time, and I love them for it. They are not afraid to let me know when they're not thrilled with doing some sort of drill or conditioning. But I always tell them, it's a thing that we do that makes us stronger. And they said, well, that's easy for you to say. You're over there with the whistle and the clipboard. But they were a treat to have around. And I really miss our seniors. there's two guys I've had for 4 years, Isaac Justice and Ethan Watt. Man, it's going to be weird. I hope the guys, like I told every senior that's graduated, come back and visit. Those two guys are pretty special to me, so I'm truly going to miss those two guys. They've got, career-wise, about the same type of record all the way through. Just awesome individuals. I hope they do well in life. I want to go ahead and start thanking people. I want to thank my wife, who puts up with me, especially now she's locked in the house with me. She's finding out how boring I am, and she lets me know that daily. I want to thank Tony Ugan for putting up with me. I'm sure I can try his patience on occasion. Lisa Musselman is amazing, and Lisa, putting in order for your green and white mints for next year. I'd like to thank all the family and friends that help us work at our meets, our JV Invitational that Tony is graciously hosting, along with our Blackford Duels that we host also. Get to our record. Like I said, our record was 6-26. 2 meets, to be honest with you, I was surprised that with forfeiting as many weights as we did, I'm tickled to death, have 6 wins. And there were several meets that we could have possibly won if we had a full lineup. But 2 wins that kind of stand out in my mind. We had a big win against Homestead just before the Christmas break. And then, let's see here, coming back, we beat Taylor by a point at our own Blackford Duels. Those are 2 big wins during the season that kind of stand out in my mind. I'd like to thank Demi Doherty. She's a first-year manager. Demi, like a lot of other coaches, she was extremely valuable to us this year. She knew what I wanted. By the second or third week, she knew what I was wanting to do before I even said it. She took care of everything. Wonderful young lady. Hopefully she'll be back with us next year to do it again if the boys don't drive her nuts. Let's go ahead and start with some awards here. Excuse me for I'm going to be straining here my eyes. Major B awards go out to Nick Albach, Demi Doherty, Kendrick Dishman, and Brian Hernandez. Patches go out to Isaac Justice. He's also a captain. Amber Schlegel, Ethan Watt, also a captain. Todd Thornburg, Ian Reed, and Evan Watt. JVBs go out to Andrew Conwell and Sarah Ellison. Numerals go to Demi Doherty, Sarah Ellison. Cracker Jack Award, which is kind of like a special award for extra effort, go out to Evan Watt, Nick Albach, and Demi Doherty. We have an award that's called the 2010 Award, and that goes out to guys that have accumulated 20 wins and 10 pins in the season. And we didn't have 1 or 2. We had 4 guys this year. Out of 10 guys, that's pretty good. Isaac Justice, Ethan Watt, Evan Watt, and Brian Hernandez all were 2010 award winners. Our scholar athletes, I haven't had an opportunity to get to school and get that accumulation done yet. I'll get with the school and get that at a later date. All-conference award. We had a champion this year with Ethan Watt, which is going to punch me because I said his brother's name. Ethan, congratulations again. What a way to go for your senior year. Also a finalist and finishing second was Isaac Justice. I want to thank my assistant coaches. Let's see, let's go. Elijah Justice has been with us for quite some time. Elijah's always a great guy to have around the room. Josh Eisenberg's a first-year coach here at Blackford. He was our junior high coach. Did a great job with the guys. He's sending a big number of freshmen to us next year. We appreciate that. Things are looking good for the Bruins once we get through this crud. So, Bruin Nation, keep your heads up. This will be over soon. We'll get right after it, football season and soccer season and volleyball season and all the good stuff. Don't want to just focus on one thing. Again, thank you guys, and now I'm going to turn it over to Coach McDonald and Unified Bowling.
First, I'd like to thank my assistant coach, Linda Wallace, the team's parents for allowing their students to participate, Northside Lanes for allowing us to use their facility to practice, and also the administration, Mr. Scheimer, Mr. Ugen, and Mr. Yenser for allowing the unified programs to compete. This was the second season for us in unified bowling. As a team, we went 1-1. The team plays a 5-game series in each of their meets. The boys went 5-2-1 on the year. Co-ed team was 2-3. They did not participate in one of the meets because the other team did not have enough to field all 3 teams. And the girls team went 4-1 on the year. We opened up the season with a win against Elwood, and we finished second at the Muncie Invitational to Muncie Central, and Delville finished third. We had 2 more regular meets scheduled, but those, along with our state finals, were canceled, which was a disappointment because we were looking to hopefully improve on our second place from last year. The boys set an all-time program score record of 153, beating their score from state finals last year of a 144. Our seniors were Bree Adney and Braden Coons, who recently signed his letter of intent to bowl for Grace College. And our awards, everybody on the team gets a certificate. Members of our team were Jim McCaffrey, Bronson Alter, Kyler Brock, Austin Roundtree, Angel Thomas, Logan Wilson, Bree Adney, Braden Coons, Lucas Gore, Emily Huffman, Jenny Rogers, Gabe Foster, Sissy McNeil, Madison Merkel, and Mason Quillen. We had 3 plaques that we were giving out this year. Leadership Award went to senior Braden Coons from helping our athletes with their mechanics and teaching them how to be a good role model and a good teammate. Commitment Awards, we had 2. They went to Lucas Gore and Bree Adney. Lucas drove from the MAC every day to be at practice, and Bree came from her student study at the nursing home. And our Most Improved Award went to Angel Thomas. She improved a lot from last year. She picked up, in our match with Muncie Central, she picked up a split, which when I was looking at it, I was like, I didn't think she could get it, and she did. It was pretty cool to see her get it, and she was so excited that she picked up a split. She also got, I think, 3 strikes this year. So that's all I have, and I'll turn it back over to Mr. Ugen.
Thank you. Go ahead and we'll wrap it up here shortly. Certainly interesting doing it this way. I have a greater appreciation for what I see on TV now, sitting in front of a camera, talking to a little box with a lens on it and a few people behind, and as each coach presented, they got done and they all walked out. So now Steve and I and Lisa Musselman left, so it's kind of interesting, and we saw there was at least 70 people watching about 5-10 minutes ago, so we appreciate you guys looking in. Oh yeah, Greg's down here. Greg's still here. He's on computer, still watching, so I appreciate him being here. He's like, look at me. He's sitting in his shorts at home on his couch. But I do have one last presentation to make. We have 3 Bruins who won CIC All Academic Awards. Those are not sports related. It's entirely based on their effort in the classroom. So if we could have a big round of applause, we certainly give to these 3 students who did an outstanding job. Our first is Nolan McConnell. So they'll get a plaque from the CIC, and I'll do the best I can to try to show them here. They'll get a little bit extra. There's Nolan. And then William Withers was our second senior who got all academic awards. So good job, William. And Molly Wolf is our third representative from Blackford. So we appreciate their efforts in the classroom as well. Great job to all 3 of you representing BHS. Certainly want to thank all our coaches for being here tonight. I know it's tough to come in here. I'm sure they were thrilled to death to have to do this live. But they did it, and they did a great job, better than what I did in that first time up here. But we'll slow down a little bit and try to do this a little better here at the finish. But I appreciate everything they did during the winter to make it an extremely enjoyable winter season. Thanks to Steve and the Blackford Sports Network for doing this for us. They've kind of picked up their broadcasts on numerous sports, not just football and basketball, and we certainly appreciate that. And I know there's hundreds if not thousands of Bruin fans out there who certainly appreciate getting to see what's going on at Blackford High School this year and even looking forward. And I know there's people even there parts of the world watching, so we certainly appreciate you guys looking in as well and supporting the Blackford Bruins. Thank you to all our coaches who devote so much time to coach and mentor kids. I can go on and on. What a great staff we have. I mean, they're very accommodating. They work hard. They come in. They put in a lot of time. They ask questions. They do everything they can to try to help them promote their programs. And I certainly appreciate everything they do. So a big thanks to all our coaches. Thanks to the administration for being so supportive. You're seeing a lot of improvements around here. For a 50-year-old building, it looks great, which goes into my next group, the custodial staff. For a 50-year-old building, this place looks sweet, to put it in the best words I can think of. And we're still trying to make improvements, and without the support of the administration, we're not able to do those things. So I certainly appreciate their efforts. I want to thank all those who work all our contests. A lot of the same people you see every time you come here for an event. And they don't get paid a lot, but they're here to help us do what we do every night and to be as efficient as possible, and they do a fantastic job. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our bus drivers who do a great job. They give up their nights to take our kids safely to away events and spend a lot of time away from home, but we need all those people to help contribute to make everything we do possible, and we certainly can't do it alone. I want to thank the officials. A lot of times they get a lot of stuff thrown at them, but without them, certainly we're not getting a chance to play the contest that we do, and it's all about the kids anyway, so we appreciate their efforts. Thank you, Lisa. She didn't want to hear it anymore. I'd like to put her on camera, but we won't do that because she'll kill me. Don't do that. It'll be the end of the world as we know it. I think the pandemic's bad. But I appreciate what she does to help me run things as efficiently as possible. I think we make a pretty good team, so I certainly respect and appreciate all she does for the department. I want to thank my wife, Lisa, and the spouses and girlfriends and boyfriends of all our coaches who allow us to do what we love the most, coaching kids, working with kids, and I can't even think about the amount of time they spend sitting at home. And I hear from our coaches, my wife's at home alone. I got to get home, and I understand that, but I certainly appreciate them letting us do what we love. And I apologize if I left out anybody, but certainly it's a team effort to do what we do here, so I appreciate that. I want to send one last thank to Nick Otwanowski for single-handedly challenging every coach and teacher at Blackford High School for 4 years to pronounce your last name. If you break it down in small syllables, you can pull it off fairly easy. But Nick, I know exactly how you feel, bud. And it doesn't matter what happens, it's going to be that way the rest of your life. So just get used to it, Nick Otwanowski. So I appreciate that for challenging Coach Hoover tonight. And thanks to all the Bruins, whether you're an athlete or not. Thank you for all your efforts this winter. Again, and I don't want to make it so much about spring, but certainly we're feeling for those kids that didn't get an opportunity to play in the spring. I included. I love coaching baseball, and it's just tough. Steve asked me, got here, what do you think? It's just hard. You try to move on, but it was certainly a lot of great kids who are looking forward to one last chance to put on that red, white, and black uniform and didn't get that chance. But I appreciate all your efforts, and it's just one of those things that's uncontrollable. And we try to deal with it and move on. And finally, I'm going to very sarcastically thank COVID. You wrecked what was basically an awesome winter, and you thoroughly screwed up the lives of friends and loved ones, really everybody on this entire planet. But in the midst of this life-altering pandemic, you've probably helped us bring humanity a little bit closer together. That seems odd to say, and unfortunately, in a lot of cases, it takes tragedy or extreme circumstances to bring people back to focus on what's really important in this world. And if anything, we're going to look back and think about how this has changed us. We're never going to forget this. But and I don't want to. We don't greatly miss and are sad to miss those who succumbed to COVID. I'm not trying to make light of it by any stretch of the imagination, but humanity shall overcome the negative impact of COVID in our lives, and hopefully in the end we'll be better despite the disease. So thanks again for watching tonight. I really appreciate being able to do this tonight and share. Hopefully we can come up with a way to get graduation in and a spring award program, and we'll probably, if you got some feedback, please email me. What could we have done better tonight? And maybe give us some suggestions on what maybe we could do to pull off graduation somehow if we aren't able to get together. And, of course, Governor Holcomb's going to speak tomorrow, and maybe he'll give us a little more light as to what's ahead of us for the state of Indiana. But I'm proud to be a Bruin, and I hope you are too. That's a wrap. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Steve.